Hey, what's up, team? This time we're going to talk about comparative statics. Now, comparative statics is just a slightly pretentious academic way of saying that we are going to compare two equilibria. You already know everything you need to know in order to compare two equilibria, so I'm just going to hit you with a couple examples to give you a sense of what this analysis looks like. So we're going to start off by analyzing the ice cream market in summer and winter. Here we have a plot of supply and demand. In particular, we have a plot of demand in the summer. And if you find the intersection of supply and demand, you see that we're at an equilibrium of price P1 and quantity Q1. Okay. So now we think about how is this market going to differ in the winter? And in particular, as you can imagine, people's preferences shift away from ice cream in the winter. In the summer, when it's hot out, it's awesome to have a frozen dessert. People like that a lot. In the winter, people are less inclined to eat a freezing cold dessert. So demand is going to shift to the left in response to a change in people's preferences. Note that after demand shifts left, we're at a new equilibrium, a new intersection between supply and demand. In particular, we're at price P2, which is lower than price P1, and we're at quantity Q2, which is lower than quantity Q1. So in summary, demand has decreased. I think this is slightly subpar notation on my part. I think it would be better to say that demand shifts left, quantity decreases, and price decreases as well. Let's do a second example on the ice cream market. Still looking at it in the summer and winter, but this time suppose that when winter comes around, there's a widespread outbreak of mad cow disease. First, this is going to be super similar to the last problem. We start off with a supply and demand diagram, except this time we label supply in the summer, and we start off at the same equilibrium, P1 and Q1. Okay, great. Just like before, people's preferences in the winter are going to shift away from cold desserts, so demand for ice cream is going to shift to the left. This time, we have an outbreak of mad cow disease to think about. I apologize if any of this is factually correct. My background is in econ, not whatever you call the study of epidemics. So I don't know if mad cow disease applies to cows, and I also don't know if it's fatal. Suppose for this example that it is both. So there's this outbreak and it's killed a whole bunch of cows. If all those cows have died, that's basically a shock to the production technology of ice cream, right? Dairy is a key input in ice cream, and a ton of dairy producing cows will have died. As a result, it will become the price of dairy is going to increase, the price of a key input in ice cream. And so the supply of ice cream is going to shift to the left, just like that. Notice that after both of these shifts, we're at a new equilibrium of supply and demand in the winter over here. We'll call this price P2 and we'll call this quantity Q2. And if we were to summarize, again, maybe slightly subpar notation on my part, demand has decreased or better shifted left. Supply has decreased or better shifted left. Quantity has decreased. And notice that price has actually slightly increased. One thing that I want you all to note is imagine in response to the outbreak of mad cow disease, supply shifted a little bit less to the left. Let's say it shifted about half as far to the left, so it was running here. If that were the case, then our equilibrium would be about right here, and price P2 would actually be lower than price P1. Quantity Q2 would still be lower than quantity Q1, but the price has actually moved in a different direction. And this is an important ambiguity when you get both supply and demand shifting. Usually one of the two components of an equilibrium, the price or the quantity, will move in an ambiguous direction. It'll depend on the size of the shifts involved. So in this case, it could have been that the price decreased. The way I've drawn it, the price increased. But I want that to be on your radar. I want you all to keep in mind that it's not necessarily true in this case that price increased. It's possible. It's actually a little more ambiguous, I should say. Okay, that's comparative statics. Congratulations. That's your first real unit of econ on supply, demand, equilibria, all of that great stuff. So shout out, y'all. Congrats.